Well, nice. Got a good little crew here, and I think this is everybody that kind of RSVP that said they were going to be coming. So, what do you say we kick things off, Mike? Thanks for hopping on tonight, everybody. I know some of you might know Mike from pre-COVID days when he was at the gym a handful of times over the last year or two. So you might know him and recognize him from that. But if you haven't met him before, this is Mike Behrens. He is our Xendurance rep and has been, I guess, connected to Sanctify for it's been a couple or a few years now, I think. Mm-hmm. And I've always had really good interactions with Mike. He's a smart dude, knows his stuff, and but always was. Anytime people are talking about supplements and things, I've interacted with a number of folks over the years who always, it's obvious that they're trying to sell something and like get you to take everything under the sun, whether you need it or not. And I've never gotten that vibe from Mike. I think he's a pretty upstanding guy and just really enjoys helping people. So I am eager to hear what you've got to say tonight, Mike.
Dude, awesome. Thanks for that intro, man. Very
cool. You betcha.
I try really, really hard to give that vibe for like I'm not trying to push supplements, and I'm glad that you pick up on it. That's great.
I do. You're doing well with that.
That's awesome. Good deal. Okay. Well, so hi everybody. I want to get right into stuff because I want to be conscious of your time. I don't want to take up all of your night, but I do have a lot of stuff that I'd like to share with you as in regards to supplementation. So one of the things that I want to start with is I want to start like thinking about supplements, right? Supplements are an interesting thing, an interesting animal. And you know how like in the world of supplements, there's a million supplements on the market. There's so many of them that claim to do this or do that. And sometimes their claims sound too good to be true. There's so much confusion and misinformation around supplementation that you don't even know where to start or what's real, what's not real. And then anytime you're having a conversation about supplementation, there's that immediate feeling or opinion that you have about it because you tried supplements before and didn't get any results. And you're at the point where you're just like, you know what, screw it. I'm not even going to bother with supplements. They don't even work. But the reality is supplements do work and they can help you perform better and live healthier. And so that's one of the things that I want to cover with you guys tonight. But we got to address the question, are supplements right for you? Because this is about you guys and helping you live healthier. And if supplements are right for you, which ones are right for you? So that's the goal tonight. And how do we figure that out? So the first thing that I want to do and help you figure out and wrap your head around is all of the issues that are with supplements. So we've got to talk about what problems come up when you have the supplement conversation. Now, as Josh said, I'm not someone who pushes supplements down your throat. I'm a supplement salesman, but that's not my first goal. My first goal is to help you live healthier. And that's what I focus on with supplementation. So there's definite role that it can play, but I don't focus solely on that, right? We want to get to the heart of the matter with supplements. So with the problems around supplementation, there's a bunch of things that we need to address quickly about it. And the big thing is just the incredible confusion that is out there. There's misinformation because supplement companies use fancy marketing to try to sell you, right? And that's what they're trying to do. They got to sell product. I understand it, but there's so much that comes with that companies try to pull fast one on you. And it's really frustrating for me to see this because those companies then prey on that lack of knowledge that people have in supplements, and they don't know any better. And so what these companies do is they really focus on creating the cheapest product for the highest profit that they can. And it creates this race to the bottom for pricing. But to do that from a business perspective, for a company to be able to offer you the lowest price, they have to have the cheapest ingredients, right? And that doesn't correlate very well to effectiveness for you, which then as the consumer makes you wonder, do they even work? Do these supplements work? And then how do I know if they're working, right? So that's a real problem that we have with supplements is how do we even judge if these things are working for us? And then on a much bigger level, the problem is what do we know about the long-term health with supplements, and what is this going to do to support or damage me for the long term? And so those are some of the things that I really want to address, and what these supplement companies do when it comes to the problems that they create by the things that they say. It creates this marketing speak of what's out there when it comes to supplementation, and it just creates incredible confusion. And what I try to do is cut through that confusion and try to fix that. And one of the things that I really love doing is educating people on all the BS that's out there in the supplement world, right? And so what are supplements going to do for you though? Like let's talk about that real quick. Supplements, what they can do for you is they can help you live healthier longer, plain and simple. A good product, a good supplement that you take can support your long-term health, can support your immune system, can support your body in recovery, can do all the things to help you live healthier every single day. Going to help you play with your kids more, going to help you perform better in the gym, all the things that you might want to accomplish. A supplement can support you in that, right? But it's not the end all be all. So on the flip side of that, what are supplements? If you don't take supplements, okay, no big deal. You know, you're not gonna die because you don't take supplements. Like you're gonna live a normal life. You're gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. You'll be whatever fulfilled and all this kind of stuff. Just might not be as healthy on the insides depending on your diet and things like that. So the goal is to educate you as to how this can help and see if this is going to be a benefit for you or not. Because supplementation is varied by the individual and it is entirely up to you. So that's the goal of what I'm going to do here is I want to give you a plan on how to figure out if supplements are right for you. And we have to have some base knowledge of why they might be right and why they wouldn't be right. So the first thing that we need to do is I want to give you a plan to follow or some baseline information, some foundational information on supplementation so that you can decide and make that decision, because it's entirely up to you. I'm not going to make that decision for you. I just want to be the one that helps educate you and let you know what's possible. Okay, so first thing that we're going to talk about is I want to cut through the confusion. That's the goal of what the foundational information that I want to go over with you tonight is to eliminate all the crap that you may have heard in the past, go through foundational knowledge and base knowledge of what supplementation is all about. Then we're going to talk about what to look for and what to avoid with supplementation, because there's definitely some things that you want to avoid in supplements that you might take. And then we're going to talk about what makes sense for you, going through a couple of different products, some foundational things that I recommend to people, and we'll cover that stuff. Okay. So the first thing about supplementation is, what is supplements? What are they? What are they good for? Right? Well, do we even need supplements? That's a big question that I get from people all the time is, do I even need them? And I answer that question by saying supplements are just that. They are a supplement to a healthy diet. They are not the end all be all, right? So food is the best medicine that you're going to have. Supplements are not a cure for anything. They can help support your health, but they're not a cure for anything. And they're just a great addition to that healthy diet. So you really got to address that first. And I'm a huge proponent of pushing food first and dial in your food so that you can make sure that you're hitting as much as you can from whole food, natural sources, and not having to turn to supplements for everything. Now, with that said, supplements have a place because food, unless you're eating a perfectly balanced diet from or all organic food with no artificial nothing, you might not be getting all of the nutrients and vitamins and minerals and things that your body needs to support a natural or support a healthy immune system. And so if you're eating a perfectly healthy diet, perfectly balanced diet, if you're working with a nutritionist and they got you on a perfectly balanced diet, then do you need supplements? Maybe not, maybe not at all. You know, you might be doing that. But if you're like me and like most people I talk to, and you eat basically the same 5 to 10 meals every couple of weeks, then you might need some supplementation. You know, my diet's pretty much the same. I don't really change it up too much because it's just convenient and I like what I like, right? So it makes it super easy to go through that process and figure that out. And so with the food piece of it, our food is also produced a little bit differently now as well. And the soil is not as nutrient dense for some of the food, which then translates into the food that we eat. It doesn't have as many nutrients in it. So the stuff that we're actually consuming now, even if it is organic, the soil isn't as good. So the soil, because it's been depleted over time, and, you know, there's organic farmers that have brought that back and stuff like that. But for the general population, that's where we're at. So the food, there's holes that can be filled by supplementation in the nutrients and things like that. And so that's really important when it comes to supplementation. It makes a big difference with what's going on. And the mainstream marketing will tell you that, oh, just supplement everything. And, you know, like replace food with supplements. And any company that is trying to sell you on the fact that you just need to do our shakes all day, every day, is full of crap, in my opinion, because food is the priority, and shakes are a great, ever so often a replacement, great for convenience, but for them to be the staple of your diet, I don't agree with that one bit, because it's not what's best for you and your long-term health. Short term might work, might get you some results, might get you some weight loss, might get you some stuff like that. But is it going to be sustainable? Can you do shakes all day, every day? I don't know. I don't think so. So with that, food first, always go with food, and then supplement in addition to the healthy food that you're eating. I'm an advocate of high vegetable diets, high greens, right? I'm a meat eater. If you are not a meat eater, fine, no big deal. But I'm a meat eater, so I do meat and veggies and fruit, and that's pretty much it. I like carbs too. I just don't do it as often as I want to, because that's just, you know, how you be healthy, right? So with supplementation, some foundational stuff, the importance of the dosing and the absorption of supplements is huge. And so the thing that happens with mainstream supplement companies and most supplement companies is, if you look on a label, and the food industry as a whole too, if an ingredient is in a product, then they can claim that that product supports whatever that ingredient does. So for example, protein. If a tub of protein has any protein in it at all, then they can claim that it helps with muscle recovery. It doesn't matter if it has 2 grams of protein per serving or 20 grams of protein per serving. They can claim that it helps with muscle recovery. But the dosage plays a huge role in the effectiveness of it, right? So if you have a protein shake that's only got 2 grams of protein in it and the rest is sugar or whatever else, or carbs, for muscle recovery, it's not going to be as effective as a protein shake with 20 grams of protein, right? Now that makes sense. But then take that a step further to like a box of Cheerios. You know, they claim that it's heart healthy, right? And it is to a certain extent. It's a better option than Lucky Charms or something like that, I suppose. But it's because there's whole grains, and whole grains have been shown to help with heart health, right? So, but in the world of supplements, that dosing can make a big difference, and you can buy a product thinking that you're getting an effective dosage, but the reality is you're not getting an effective dosage. For like ingredients like vitamin C, a lot of people will take vitamin C, they'll go buy standalone vitamin C, and let's say it's in a dosage of 5 milligrams per serving. Now it's pretty low dosage, but let's say that's what it is, just for argument's sake. You take that, it's not going to be as effective as a dosage that's 100 milligrams or 200 milligrams, and you're not going to get that benefit. But on the marketing side of it, they can still claim the same thing because it has vitamin C in it, and this one has vitamin C in it, and it still has the same claim. You just got to look at the label and make sure you're getting an effective dosage. So with supplementation, I always address that with people that it's incredibly important with the dosage of a product. And then to take it a step further with the dosage is great. Making sure you have the right dosage is great. But if it's not in a form that your body can absorb, then it's not going to do any good. So products and supplements and the ingredients have different grade levels, just like a cut of beef or something like that. You know, there's choice steak and then there's ground beef, right? And so supplements are very similar, where supplements, you can buy a low grade quality supplement that doesn't work very well, doesn't do much for you, doesn't absorb in your body, because your body's like, what do I do with this? I don't know how to process it. But then there's high grade stuff, there's premium grade, there's medical grade stuff that your body can absorb, and it's been filtered and produced in a way that is readily available for your body to absorb. So that makes a huge difference as well. So two things there: dosage and absorption are huge in supplementation. And what that means is your body can actually use it and absorb it, and it's at a dosage high enough that's effective. And so that has to be, to figure that out, there has to, the products that you're going to be looking for have to be backed by science. And there's recommended daily amounts of products that come from the government that aren't high enough to show an effective dosage by the science. So the science is where you want to make sure that the products are actually focused on giving you the dosage that's the right amount. You know, like to go to the vitamin C example, a recommended daily amount might be 100 milligrams a day, but for vitamin C to be effective, it might be 300 milligrams a day. Right? So it's one thing that you really got to pay attention to make sure that the company that you're buying the products from is focused on that and giving you a dosage that's getting you the value for your money. Because the reality is, if you can't absorb the product you're taking, you're literally peeing it away, or the other way, getting rid of it. Right? And so like that's just how it is, because your body doesn't take it. It looks at it and it's like, what do I do with this? And part of that process is tied into your gut health. And without getting into all of the ins and outs of gut health, but we're finding that your gut is like your second brain, right? And it manages so much of what happens in your body. And if your gut isn't happy, then your body's not going to operate efficiently. You're not going to absorb the food efficiently that you're eating, and not just supplements. You're not going to absorb a piece of chicken the right way if your gut's in disrepair, right? So one of the things that contributes to that is the food that we have, the food that we eat. It causes damage to our gut, right? And so when we damage our gut, it causes inflammation in our body. And the foods that we eat a lot of times cause inflammation. High sugar, high carb diets cause a ton of inflammation. And then inflammation turns into free radicals, which turns into oxidative stress. Now, when I start talking about free radicals and oxidative stress, a lot of times I lose people. They just like, what the heck is he talking about? I'm going to tone out right here. So I want to give you a visual on free radicals and oxidative stress. And then I won't go into any more of the details about it, because I think this visual does a very good job of explaining what free radicals and oxidative stress is all about. So picture an apple, right? This visual that I'm going to show you is just that. When you cut an apple open, if you let it sit for a while, it's going to turn brown, right? So after a while, it's going to turn brown because it starts to oxidize. And if you were to take that same apple and put some vitamin C on it, some antioxidant from a orange juice or lemon juice or whatever it is, if you were to put that on the apple, then it wouldn't brown, right? So because it's oxidizing to turn brown, and then you put an antioxidant on it to keep it from turning brown. Pretty simple to understand, right? So that's a rotten apple. Well, free radicals and oxidative stress is what happens to the cells in our body. So think about your cells in your body, which is the makeup of all of us, right? If your cell is an apple, free radical damage gets in and attacks that cell, then causes oxidative stress, and then that cell looks like a rotten apple. So the founder of the Xendurance always says, don't be a rotten apple. You don't want to be a rotten apple because you want to target the inflammation in your body, and you want to target the free radical damage that's going on in your body. So with that, the oxidative stress that happens plays a huge role, and it comes from our guts being in disrepair. And so I want to show another visual that I'm going to use my hands for, with gut health. Think about your gut and the walls of your gut as your hand. And if your gut is in disrepair, the wall of your gut looks like this. And so it's wide open. All kinds of stuff can get in there. No big deal. It just passes right through the wall of your gut. And then what happens is it causes inflammation in the body, which then creates free radicals, which then creates oxidative stress and starts to damage your cells. And I use the phrase, if your cells are happy, then your body's happy. If your cells are getting destroyed by oxidative stress, then they're not happy, right? So if our guts are in disrepair, then that damage happens, goes right through the walls of our gut. But if we can improve our diet, and then there's supplementation to bring inflammation down and reduce the oxidative stress, it starts to repair our gut health, right? So then your gut, as it gets repaired, starts to look like this. And then so when food comes in and ingredients try to absorb, they hit this wall, and this wall essentially stops them from just willy-nilly going through and hitting your body. It absorbs them properly so that your body can use them efficiently and use them effectively and keep your gut in good health, and you're getting the best bang for your buck with all the food that you're eating or any supplements that you might be taking. So that's where gut health and inflammation and oxidative stress is incredibly important. And with inflammation, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. There's so much that happens with inflammation in your body that you need to really focus on bringing that down. Okay. So that's some baseline for supplementation, the importance of it, importance of gut health, and why supplementation can help with that and help improve that. But then there's ways that supplementation also damages your gut health too. So now I want to talk about what to look for and what to avoid with supplementation. So there's a few things. The first thing that I tell people to look for when it comes to supplements is you want to look for drug-free certification. Now, the supplement industry is not regulated by the FDA. So supplement companies don't have to get approval to put out a supplement. So because there's, ethical reasons that you want to put out a good product, most supplement companies aren't going to do anything incredibly harmful because, that'll be the end of their business. But most supplement companies will use a third-party verification system to verify that their products are certified drug-free. And there's the best company to go through is a company called LGC, and they use labeling called Informed Choice and Informed Sport. Now that's a certifying drug-free agency that certifies products. They test for like 140 different banned substances or something like that to make sure that products are safe and effective for people that are taking them. So athletes can use them and not worry about popping on a drug test or anything like that. So that's the first thing that you want to look for in supplements. The next thing that you want to look for and you want to avoid is artificial sweeteners and artificial flavoring and dyes and things like that. Because what we were just talking about with your gut health, artificial sweeteners actually cause damage and inflammation to your gut. And with too much artificial stuff going into your body, your gut doesn't know what to do with it. And then it will try to absorb it, but because it can't absorb it, it causes that damage. And the biggest culprit that I found, or that I find and hear about, is sucralose. Sucralose is an artificial sweetener that's 300 times sweeter than sugar. So they don't have to use as much sweetener to sweeten a product. And that's why some supplement companies can get away with having a Fruity Loops flavor protein that tastes amazing because it's got sucralose in it to make it taste amazing, right? And like if they were to do that with sugar, it would be a very high sugar protein. The sugar's better for you, but they can get away with it with the sucralose because it's super, super sweet. But what they don't tell you is that your body doesn't know what to do with sucralose. And so it will eliminate most of it. And there are studies to show that your body eliminates 90 to 95% of the sucralose that it consumes but that other 5 to 10% is what's wreaking havoc in your gut, and it destroys your gut health. And then it goes back to that problem where I was just talking about, that your body doesn't absorb things properly because your gut is in disrepair, right? So that is something that you definitely want to avoid in any product that you're going to be taking. Artificial flavoring, artificial sweeteners, any dyes, things like that. If you get a product and it tastes incredible and it's the sweetest thing you ever had, then maybe it's got some artificial sweeteners in it. There's been a ton of improvements in flavoring of products with natural ingredients. So there's definite improvement there. But if it's super, super sweet, check the label and just make sure that it doesn't have any artificial sweeteners in it, because it most likely does. And any mainstream supplement company is going to be that way as well. Okay. So a couple of other things to look for in supplementation, going back to the different grades of products. There's specifically, I want to talk about protein for a second, because that's one that everybody understands, everybody gets, everybody knows about. Everybody knows what protein powder is, protein shake, right? There's different levels of protein. There's different grades of protein, but then there's also different types of protein for you to take. The different grades of protein, like I already talked about, or already talked about that, so I don't need to touch on that too much. The different types of protein, though, there's whey concentrate, there's a whey isolate, there's a whey hydrolysate, and then a casein protein. Now, those are all dairy-based proteins. So if you have a dairy issue, stay away from those. Hydrolysate proteins and isolate proteins a lot of times strip out as much of the lactose properties. So you don't, some people who don't have a super sensitivity to lactose can get away with doing a dairy protein that's a hydrolysate or an isolate, but definitely stay away from a concentrate because they're a little harder on your stomach. And so with that, concentrates are the hardest one for your body to absorb and digest and process. An isolate is much better because it's partially broken down, and a term that we in the supplement industry is pre-digested, so that your body can readily absorb it. And then a hydrolysate is even further filtered and even further pre-digested so that your body can absorb it immediately. And it's the easiest one for your body to digest. And so I bring this up because a lot of times people will, with protein, notice a little indigestion from the protein they're taking. And I don't know if any of you have experienced, I definitely have. The protein farts is a real thing. And it's because your body is trying to absorb and digest and process the whey concentrate. And a lower grade whey concentrate, because it's already a harder protein for your body to digest, is going to be harder on your stomach. There are better grade whey concentrates that aren't as hard, but it's still going to cause a little bit of the bubble guts. And then when you move to an isolate, it's easier for your body to digest, so you don't have as much issue. And then same thing with a hydrolysate. I've never had an issue with a hydrolysate. So to give you an example, I used to work for a company called Muscle Farm, which is a mainstream supplement company. I worked for them years ago, but their protein always gave me issues. It never, like, it wasn't debilitating or anything like that, but it was, my wife didn't want to be around me after I had a protein shake, right? So like it was not great. And then I went to a company called SFH, where they have year-round grass-fed protein that's the best whey concentrate protein that you can get. But because the claim to fame with that protein is that they didn't it went minimal filtering, right? So they didn't filter out all the impurities that come with whey concentrate. So it still caused a little bit of issue with me. And then in 2017, when I started working with Xendurance, I switched to Xendurance protein, and their protein is primarily hydrolysate. I don't have any issues, and my wife doesn't have a problem being around me. And she's noticed it, when I switched, she noticed it and made a comment about it when I first started with Xendurance. So it's a real thing. I'm not saying that you won't have any issues depending on your sensitivity and your gut health, but if we repair your gut health and we get that all dialed in, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. So with protein, there's the dairy proteins that you can go with, but then there's also vegan proteins that you can do, different types of vegan proteins. The one thing that I tell people, if you're vegan, by all means, do vegan protein. Go ahead. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not against it. I'm not a hater. No problem. Whatever. But for muscle recovery, a dairy-based or meat-based protein is going to be a better protein source for you for muscle recovery, because it's a more complete amino acid profile. Amino acids are, without digging into that, are the building blocks of protein. Your body needs those to rebuild your muscles so that you can recover. So because a animal-based protein is a more complete amino acid profile, it's going to be better for you than a plant-based protein. So if you're vegan, go ahead. And if it's a thing, but if you just want a vegan protein just to get a vegan protein, you're going to get better results from a animal-based protein. So checking the vegan proteins, totally cool. No problems with them. You can get really close with the amino acid profile. There's a scale that it can get really close to a complete amino acid profile, but it just can't go over the top because there's a couple amino acids that are lacking from plant-based proteins. And then another protein source is a collagen protein. Now, collagen proteins are going to target a little bit different system than a animal-based protein or a vegan protein. They're going to hit more of the muscle, where a collagen protein is going to target everything else. And so when I talk to people to try to help them understand what a collagen protein is going to do, if animal-based and vegan proteins are going to target your muscles, then the collagen protein is going to hit everything else, from joint health to gut health to skin health, hair health, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you guys know, if you've seen me in person, I have a bun. I have beautiful flowing locks because of the collagen protein that I take every single day. Maybe I'll let it down for you at the end of this. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, but the collagen protein a lot of times gets called the beauty protein because it just targets that stuff, right? So that's another option that you can go with, but it's not going to be as good for muscle recovery. It works together with a animal-based or a vegan protein to amplify the effects of the recovery, but collagen by itself is not going to be great for muscle recovery. Okay. So that's a little bit about protein. There's a couple other pieces that I want to touch on real quick with what to look for in products. One specifically is multivitamins. Now that's one that a lot of people take or a lot of people have heard of. There is a big difference in a multivitamin that's in a tablet form versus a capsule form. Now that's something that you want to look for if you're taking like a men's or women's one a day from Walmart or Target or wherever you might get it. And if it's in a compressed tablet form, that's not going to be a great option for you as a multivitamin. The capsule version is automatically going to be better because of the absorption of that. So the absorption of a multivitamin needs to start in your stomach. And if it's in a compressed tablet, it passes right through your stomach and a lot of times doesn't even start to break down until it gets to your intestines. But because the way the multivitamin is so compressed, it doesn't break down and you end up just eliminating it that way. And the founder of Xendurance has a picture where he went to a sewage plant one time and they showed him all of the multivitamins that are there in the sewage plant because people just pass them and they can't filter through the machines and stuff. It's pretty impressive. I'll have to see if I can get that picture and send it to Josh so he can show everybody. Yeah, it's impressive. So anyway, so with a multivitamin, the intended absorption needs to happen in the stomach. So the capsule is automatically better than a tablet. And that's something that if you're taking a tablet version of a multivitamin, just stop and go find a capsule. I don't care which one you do, but just stop taking the tablet and find the capsule version of the multivitamin. The next thing is ingredient quality. And then it ties back to the dosage of things. So there's different types of ingredients that come into play when you're trying products. And so like, for example, with a fish oil product, that's another product that most people are aware of, heard of before. There's two types of fish oil on how it's produced. There's a triglyceride form and an ethyl ester form. The triglyceride form absorbs in your body better. So it's something that you want to look at when it comes to the ingredient quality and making sure that you're getting the right form that's going to absorb in your body in the right way. Okay. So that's some base knowledge on supplements. I don't want to go, we can talk more later. If you got questions, we'll answer some questions at the end of this. But now I want to move into what makes sense for you. and what makes sense and how I kind of approach the subject of supplements. What makes sense for you? Supplements, first of all, are different for everybody. You know, everybody has their own individual needs. It's going to be based on your diet. Like I said earlier at the beginning of this, if you're eating a perfectly clean diet, then you're going to need minimal supplements. You're not going to need as much. But what I recommend for literally everybody on this call, there's a few products that I would recommend across the board. It's a blanket thing because I believe everybody can benefit from it. And the first one is a multivitamin. We were just talking about a multivitamin. You need, because of the way the food is processed and the nutrient lacking that's there, you need to fill in the gaps, support your immune system. And if this last year has showed us anything, having a strong immune system is a big deal. And so the more that you can support your immune system, the healthier you're going to be, that it's going to give you the antioxidants to fight off the oxidative stress, that visual with don't be a rotten apple. You know, that is important to find a multivitamin that has antioxidants in it to fight the stress that's happening in your body, support your immune system so you can give yourself the best fighting chance when it comes to fighting diseases and things like that. Next foundational product that I tell people to take is vitamin D, specifically here in the Midwest. We want to, in the wintertime, we don't get as much sun, so we don't get as much vitamin D naturally. My dad, to give you an example, he takes vitamin D in the wintertime. He struggles with depression, so he has a high dosage of vitamin D and during the wintertime, where in the summertime he's outside in the sun all the time, so he doesn't even take it in the summertime. But during the winter, he takes a high dose consistently to help him with that vitamin D. So that's another product because it helps with mood support, and there's so many other things. There's studies show that high levels of vitamin D actually support fighting against COVID too. You know, there's some recent stuff to show that. So vitamin D is definitely an important product for people to be getting, especially if you're not getting as much sun. And then the big product that literally everybody on this call, if you're not taking one, start taking one. It's a fish oil. I am a huge advocate and believer in fish oil. And here's why. Because fish oil is going to target inflammation in your body. And it's kind of like a general targeter of inflammation. And inflammation in your body happens from the food that you eat, happens from the activities that you do, the things that you take, whatever. There's inflammation that happens because your gut's in disrepair, so on and so forth, right? And what happens with inflammation is inflammation just starts to build on it, right? Think of it like a fire. And a fire starts little, but then it just grows and gets huge. And then inflammation just gets out of control because it just takes over. And you get to a point where you have so much inflammation in your body that you're just comfortable with it and you don't even notice it anymore because it's just built and built and built and built and built. And fish oil is going to help target that. So if you're allergic to fish, then don't do a fish oil. You need to get a product that's high in omega-3s to help target some of that inflammation and bring that down. And what that's going to do is as you start to decrease the inflammation in your body, it's going to start to make everything work better, work more efficiently. The more you can bring the inflammation down, the better you can function. Basically, inflammation and oxidative stress are the leading causes of degenerative disease. So the more you can reduce inflammation in your body, the more you can reduce oxidative stress in your body, the healthier you're going to be in the long run, right? So you can need to fight against that right away. And the one thing that I say with anybody on a fish oil, when you're taking a fish oil product, because the fish oil is like a fire, and this goes back to the dosage conversation we were having earlier, because it's like a fire that's out of control. If you come at it with a cup of water, it's not going to do much, right? You got to turn the fire hose on. You got to get it down. You got to bring that inflammation down. So if you're at a level of inflammation that's here and you throw a cup of water or a maintenance dose at it, you're just going to stay right where you're at, right? But if you come at it with a fire hose and beat it down, then over time, you're going to bring that inflammation back down to a more sustainable, well, not sustainable because you can sustain this one too, but a healthier level. And so when you have that inflammation at a healthier level, you're going to feel better all the time. And so what I tell people when you're starting a fish oil, or if you're taking one now, up your dosage. For me, I do about 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams of fish oil on a consistent basis daily. Most people will get maybe 200 to 500 milligrams of fish oil on a daily basis. And there's a big difference in how that's going to support your system. And so I do that maybe a little bit higher than most because I have an eye issue that I use it for, that I really want to target inflammation. But for most people, I'll recommend starting at about 2,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA omega-3s on a daily basis, which leads me to a point that we need to look for in supplements, specifically in fish oil. The fish oil on the front of a bottle, it will tell you that there are 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of omega-3s in a serving. But if you look at the back, there's a breakout of EPA and DHA, which are basically the two types of omega-3s that your body can actually use and process to target that inflammation. And people, the supplement companies will put 2,000 to 3,000 of omega-3s on their bottle, but then the EPA and DHA content is only 200 or 300 or 400. So then you're not getting the effective dosage to actually target things. To give you an example, to use my dad again, he was taking a fish oil that he bought at Walmart because it was cheap. He got like 100 something pills for $10, something like that. But then I compared the EPA and DHA content for his to what Xendurance offers, and he was going to have to take 14 pills for the Walmart one to equal 2 pills of the Xendurance one, which is a maintenance dose. So there's definitely a discrepancy there that you need to pay attention to when it comes to fish oil. Okay, so as you can tell, I'm a big believer in fish oil, and everyone on this call, if you're not taking it, you should take it. The one caveat to fish oil is you don't really feel anything right away. It takes time. You got to be on fish oil for a little while for you to notice a difference. And by a little while, I mean at least a month, maybe 2 months before you really start to notice a big difference with fish oil, because it's working on the insides and it's not on the outwardly noticeable. Okay. So those are some foundation products that I would recommend everybody be on, because it's just a great foundational support system for living healthier. A couple other products that I want to touch on real quick. Protein and pre-workouts, because this is a gym group that I'm talking to right now. Those are kind of important. And around your workouts and around training, supplementation can be huge. And so there's no blanket answer here. The big thing that I like to say to people is, if you're coming from work in the pre-COVID days where you actually went to work and you came to the gym, if you didn't eat anything from the time you were at lunch until you got to the gym, then you are operating at a deficit already, because your body's got nothing to use for energy. And I get everybody wants to burn calories and lose weight when they're in the gym and all this kind of stuff. And, we all have weight to lose. I mean, maybe Josh doesn't have any weight to lose, but all the rest of us got some weight to lose, right? So like, it's just part of it. And we want to burn that extra stuff. So the thought process is, all right, well, if I didn't eat, then I don't have that food, and then I can burn extra calories, and then I'm going to come out ahead at the end of the workout. But the reality is, your body needs some fuel for that workout. You're going to get a better workout if you have a little fuel in your system to get going. And so supplementing with protein beforehand, supplementing with carbohydrates, or eating some peanut butter and an apple or peanut butter and a banana before your workout are going to help give you a better workout. And then the recovery process after the workout, to target the afternoon person, if you supplement with protein and carbs beforehand, do you need to do it again afterwards? No, go home and eat supper. Then you're fine. Just have protein and carbs then, right? Like if you're going to go home and eat and you can do that, great. If you eat before your workout, then maybe supplement afterwards if you work out late, or if you work out in the mornings and you're on a rush to get to work. So it's individual based on what you need. The big thing that I want to address is pre-workouts. There's a misconception with pre-workouts that the more stimulants, the better. And I get it. I used to be a stim junkie. I still am, kind of. I drink a lot of caffeine, but the pre-workouts don't, specifically in a CrossFit setting, don't do much to help your performance, because they're going to gas you out faster, because they're going to overstimulate you and make your muscles restrict and contract faster, so that you're not going to be able to make it through that workout as long as you possibly could before you gas out, right? So the overstimulated pre-workouts, I don't recommend to people unless you're trying to go into a bro session in the gym and just trying to get a killer pump. Okay, cool. Do all the pre-workouts you want, by all means, go ahead. But if you're working for performance and you're trying to do some kind of athletic movement, then traditional pre-workouts are not going to be as good for you. So I'm a big advocate of using a more substance-based pre-workout, which is some type of carbohydrate beforehand. When I said do some peanut butter and a banana or peanut butter and apple, you're going to get some kind of carbohydrate there that's going to help you move through a workout, and it's going to help fuel that workout. Okay. The thought process around carbohydrates before a workout, most people, when I start talking about carbs, they're like, I don't need carbs. I get enough carbs. The truth is, you do need carbs around training, specifically because your body burns those carbs. And what happens, to give you a quick illustration, you have a glycogen store and you have a baseline of that. And when you start working out, you dip into that, right? And so then you dip down and your glycogen store goes down, and then supplementing afterwards, you got to bring that back up. So you got to get yourself back up to this baseline of where your glycogen levels are, right? And glycogen, sugar, carbs, that's your energy. So if you can supplement beforehand, when you start working out, you're not going to dip in to that glycogen store because you have the carbohydrates that are in your system to help fuel you through the workout. So you're going to stay more at a maintenance level. So you're not going to dip into it and then have to dig yourself back out as far. You might dip into it a little bit depending on the workout, but supplementing with carbs beforehand can help with that. And then definitely supplementing with carbs afterwards to help get you back up to a normal glycogen, to help your body get back to a happy state is important, right? So having supper after a workout, getting some carbs and some protein is a big deal. Okay. So that's a ton of information. Everybody still with me? I see a couple people still on video. A couple people shut off their videos because they fell asleep or whatever. There's a couple things I want to cover with you before I let everybody go. I want to run through the Xendurance product line real quick because that's a company that I have been working with since 2017. It's a product that I believe in, and it hits on all of the points because Xendurance as a company is focused on helping people live healthier longer. That's the goal of Xendurance, and that's what we try to do with all the products that we create. That's our focus. Xendurance, just to give you a quick overview, health and wellness company, been around 20 years, supplements for every lifestyle, and they're focused on helping you live healthier longer. That's the quick and skinny version of what Xendurance is all about. The products that we have, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of these. I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Just want to show them to you. And then we can talk about questions and answer a whole bunch of questions and stuff. First category of products are the daily foundation products. The 4 products there, the one in the back is the Immune Boost. That's a multivitamin. Highly recommend that one. It has, because of the pandemic and stuff, has become our #1 seller to support people's immune systems. A joint formula, if you have any joint pain, definitely recommend that. The Omega plus D3. So I said the 2 foundation products, 2 of the 3 foundation products I talked about were a D3, a vitamin D, and a fish oil. So that is actually both of those in one product. And then Extreme Endurance. There's a lot of science behind this. It's been clinically proven multiple times to reduce oxidative stress in the body by 39%, which we talked about oxidative stress before. This is going to help fight against that and protect your cells. I use the phrase, when your cells are happy, your body's happy. So yeah. Anyway, next product category is the energy products. I don't remember, what was the guy's name, that Kelly Bryan, is that what it was? I think needed the energy to sit up. So energy products, the Fuel 5 Plus, the 2 in the back, are carbohydrate-based pre-workouts. The only difference between them is one has a little bit of caffeine in it. And by little bit, I mean 45 milligrams. So less than a can of pop. It's not, or less than a can of Mountain Dew, if that makes any sense to anybody. Then there's an energy gel there. I can point at it with the mouse. The energy gel is like the Fuel 5, carbohydrate-based energy, but in a gel form. So great for on-the-go energy. Hydration formula. These are hydro sticks, and then just the hydro in a bag form. So you get the powder. This is like a Gatorade replacement. Great. Much better for you than any type of sports drink. And then Focus. This is the energy drink that I was talking about. This product for me has been a game changer, has completely replaced coffee, completely replaced any type of those garbage energy drinks, which I'm not proud to admit I drink a lot of. And I use this as a pre-workout. I drink it throughout the day. I can even drink it. I actually drank one like an hour ago, and I'll still be able to sleep fine tonight. I'm not very super caffeine sensitive, but it's a fantastic product. Next set of products are the recovery products. Those are protein. The 2 in the back are a chocolate and a vanilla protein. Only difference is the flavor. The chocolate is the best tasting chocolate I've ever had, and the vanilla has a hint of cinnamon in it and tastes pretty awesome. Then creatine, which is another product that I would put into that foundation category of like a daily support system for your cells, because it helps restore energy in the cells so that your cells can recover. We can dig into that later. And then the last two products there are CB Deep Sleep, which is a CBD based sleep product. There's a couple people at the gym, I believe, that have tried it, that loved it. I'm blanking on the name. I'll have to check on that and get back to you on it. And then a CBD oil. CBD is kind of the craze right now. Everybody is learning about CBD, the CBD oil. The big thing about that is you want to get it from a good source. And we source ours in the US, and it's a really good source of CBD. And then the last category of products is the Lean, which is a vegan protein. It's a vegan protein plus superfood greens, collagen and greens, which is the collagen protein plus superfood greens, and then the Lean Plus, which targets fat loss while maintaining muscle. So this is the entire product line. Depending on your goals, we can dig into specifics. I'm your go-to for that. If you have questions, reach out. I'll post my contact information in the chat so you guys can all take that down. I'll have Josh share it with everybody too. But the one thing that I find with supplements is people don't want to make that initial investment and do that big purchase if they don't know if they like a product. So I always tell people to start with the Xendurance sample box. And in the sample box, you get 8 different products to try. These are all products that you can taste the flavor of. You can feel if you get a difference from them. The only one that is a pill is the Extreme Endurance. This product, you'll take it and you'll notice a difference within a week's time on how you feel, because you take it every day for a week. It's a week trial pack, and it makes a big difference with how you feel on a daily basis. And then the rest of the products that I talked about, you can get started trying them and tasting them and seeing if they work for you. For relatively low cost. It's $40 a box. You get all those samples. And then going through Josh's link, you get 10% off. So it's $36 a box. It's a pretty good deal to get started with supplementation and try it. Make sure you like it before you buy a bigger bag. Okay. So that's all the information I have for you guys. Ultimately, supplements can help you live healthier longer. That's the goal of what we're trying to do here. That's the goal of what I'm trying to do, to help educate you, make you aware of what's possible for you. So now what I'd like to do is open it up to anybody who has questions. And then I want to show you real quick how you can get the sample box. It's real simple. And then also how you can get some free samples of the Focus. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll do some questions. Okay. So first thing, I'll post the link here in a second. Sample box. You go to the link. Can you see a box right now? Josh, give me a thumbs up if you can. Yeah. Okay, cool. So the sample box, you go to Josh's link. We'll post it in a second. It's real simple. You add it to the cart, nothing crazy. Adds it to the cart. You check out. If you have an account already, you can create an account. If you don't have an account, you just go to create one. You put in your information, create an account. You can order it. Try the sample box. Pretty simple. This screen over here, though, is you can get a free sample of the Focus. You watch this little video. It tells you exactly how to do it. But basically, you put your information in here, and then it will take you to the app, the Team XND app, to download. And then you play a 1-minute game that's multiple choice questions, and you get 2 free samples of the Focus. And that's that energy drink product that I talked about just a little bit ago. So those are 2 things that you can do when we get done with this call, to try the products, see if they're going to work for you, really get a good test for them. I also have like a little guide on how to take them and stuff like that I'll send Josh that he can share with everybody. So, all right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unmute everyone. So if you're muted, well, maybe not, I won't unmute everyone. How about that? If you will have a question, unmute yourself and feel free to ask any questions that you have about supplementation. So anyone, feel free.
This is Nick. Can you flash up the card for the samples again?
Yeah,
I was looking at that.
You see that? So you get 1 pack of the Extreme Endurance, which is 7 days worth. You get 2 samples of the Focus. You get 1 of the energy gel, 2 samples of the Fuel 5 Plus, which is carbohydrate-based pre-workout. This is the one that has a little bit of caffeine in it. Hydro Sticks, which is the Gatorade replacement. Collagen and greens. This is a vanilla flavor. If you've tasted a collagen and greens product by themselves before, they got a little bite to them, to be honest. This, for being a collagen and greens product, tastes really good for what it is. But if you've never had one before, I'll be honest, you're going to try it and be like, holy cow, just because it's greens, right? It's not going to taste the greatest. Then the lean is a vegan protein. It also has superfood greens in it as well, but this is cookie dough flavor, and man, it tastes awesome. And then the chocolate protein tastes great too. So.
Yeah, and while you were talking about sucralose, I went and looked at the 2 shakes that I have, and both have it.
Oh man.
So
I mean, it's not like, so my opinion on sucralose is it's not gonna kill you, right? Like, it's not gonna totally destroy you, but it over time, stacked on top of it, is going to damage your gut health, which is going to then damage more things beyond that, right? So, but with that said, I'll tell people that if your protein shake is the only place that you're getting sucralose and the only place that you're getting an artificial sweetener, then don't stress about it, right? Like, if you're eating a really clean, healthy diet and you're getting good natural food and you're not having a bunch of artificial stuff from other sources, then if that 1 protein shake you have a day or that 2 protein shakes you have a day is the only place you're getting sucralose, it's not going to be as big of a deal, right? Like, I still wouldn't recommend it. I'd still try to get something else, but given the circumstances, you got to do what you got to do.
Sure, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah. Does anyone else have questions? Don't be bashful. You can put them in the chat if you don't want to talk too. Everybody's scared. Kelly, you unmuted for a second. Do you have a question? I saw it.
No, I was just going to say you did a good job, so we didn't have anything.
Okay. Well, I guess that's a good sign. I did such a thorough job that there's no questions for it. So what I'm going to do real quick is in the chat, I'm going to post the links to those 2 things. So if you guys want to go to the sample box, there's a link there. And then the free focus, there's a link there as well. Go ahead, Josh.
Mike, Darla posted a question in the chat about the creatine. Just wondering if you could talk about that a bit more.
Yes. Thank you, Darla, for asking that, because that's one that I didn't do a good job of talking about, Kelly. So creatine is something that, and Darla, I'm glad that you asked, because creatine for women is it's a point of contention for a lot of people. And what I say is creatine is for everyone. There has been horror stories over 20 years ago about creatine causing bloating and causing damage and kidney issues and all this kind of stuff. But the reality is it doesn't do that. There's poor forms of creatine that you can get that are poor quality that might cause some of those issues. But what creatine does is creatine is a phosphate. And if you have ever heard about ATP is the energy source for our cells. And creatine, supplementing with creatine, because it's a phosphate, it helps restore ATP. The P in ATP stands for phosphate. So when you supplement with creatine, it helps restore that, which restores the energy to your cells. And when your cells have energy, they can regenerate, they can grow, they're going to be they're going to be healthier cells, and they're going to be happier cells. And like I said before, when your cells are happy, your body's happy. So creatine is something that I'll recommend to everyone as just a daily supplement to take. And the benefits that you're going to notice with creatine are specifically in women. They notice that they lean out a little bit from taking the creatine. Men will notice there's a muscle building quality to it because it helps your body recover faster. I'm not saying that it's going to be a magic weight loss product or a magic muscle building product, but it definitely helps in both of those categories. And then also with the creatine, because as we get older, our muscle quality lessens and our muscle recovery lessens. Creatine plays a big role in that as well. I actually made both of my parents start taking creatine on a daily basis to help them. They're 65. My dad's 66 now. So their muscle quality just goes down every year as they get older. And I'm trying to preserve that. And the creatine is helping tremendously in that respect. But then to go one step further with anybody, if there's anyone who's vegan on this call, creatine, you can get creatine by eating meat. You can't really get creatine from anywhere else. So if you don't eat meat, then your body's not getting creatine to help support those systems. So supplementing with creatine is a great option for someone who is vegan and is not or you're not eating a lot of meat, a lot of red meat or anything like that. Supplementing with creatine is awesome. And there's one thing to look for with creatine. There's studies that have been done about all kinds of different fancy names for creatines. There's different types of creatine. There's creatine. There's a liquid creatine. There's I'm blanking on some of them. Creatine hydrochloride. Creatine. There's creatine monohydrate, which is the basic form of creatine that's the most effective. There's been other studies on the different other types of creatine. None of them are as effective as creatine monohydrate. Bang energy drinks, if anyone drinks those or has seen creatine on a Bang energy drink, it's a liquid creatine, and that quality of creatine is so poor that it's just literally a marketing thing to put it in there, because it does nothing for you in your body for the amount that's in there. And it's funny, we use a creatine called CreaPure creatine, and if you just go to creapure.com, which is CreaPure.com, it's the purest form of creatine in the world. It's manufactured in Germany. They use a filtering process that gets out all the impurities, so it's 99.98% pure. It's the best form of creatine that you can get. I was talking to one of the people who works for CreaPure, and he was telling me that they did a study on the Bang energy drinks versus creatine, and they wanted to see how much liquid creatine was actually in those. It was going to take 40 cans of Bang energy drink to equal, I think 3 grams of creatine. So if you want to drink 40 cans of Bang energy on a daily basis, you can get your daily dose of creatine. So anyway, Darla, does that answer some of the questions that you had about creatine? Is there more that you'd like me to discuss about it? Do you have more questions about it? I'm looking at the chat right now.
Nope, I think that answers my question. So thank you.
Cool.
On that, Mike, I noticed that there's a couple of carbs in your creatine. I've always just bought plain old creatine. Is that intended to just drink by itself? I usually add it to something else.
Yes. So Nick, I'm glad you brought that up. That's one thing that I didn't say. The reason that that's in there is because creatine needs to have a delivery mechanism to absorb in your body. So creatine, the 5 grams of creatine in there, plus the couple grams of carbs that are in there, it's just sugar. It's for flavoring, but then it's also as a delivery mechanism, because creatine needs to have something to shuttle it where it needs to go. And so creatine attaches to the carbs, and the carbs help shuttle it where it needs to go. So if you take a standalone creatine with nothing, there's no carbs, no nothing in it, and you just take it by itself, then it's not going to absorb properly. If, like you said, Nick, you usually mix it with something else, as long as there's some carbohydrates in there, then it's going to deliver properly, because it'll attach to those carbohydrates and get it delivered. And that's why we put it in our creatine, because we recommend taking creatine at bedtime, before bed, especially because I'm glad I went down one more path with this. I forgot to mention this. Creatine and caffeine, back to the Bang energy deal, creatine and caffeine are actually, they buffer each other and they're counterproductive. So neither one of them can work as well when you take them together. So we recommend taking creatine before bed, because usually people aren't having caffeine before they go to bed. And if you have to have creatine around your caffeine, try to space it out. It's not going to be insanely detrimental. Some of it will still absorb, but you're not going to maximize the effectiveness of it if you're taking creatine with caffeine. So any type of pre-workout that has creatine in it and it's got caffeine, counterproductive, not working like it should. So try to avoid creatine and caffeine. If you're not a caffeine person, there's studies that show taking creatine post-workout is the best time to take it if you're working out. But if you're not working out, it really doesn't matter timing of the creatine. It's try to keep it away from caffeine, but creatine works as like a saturation thing. You just want to make sure you have it every single day so that you can keep your muscles saturated with the creatine.
And then do you recommend a certain amount of water a day when you're taking creatine?
I recommend to stay hydrated, that you drink half your body weight in ounces of water daily anyways. So I wouldn't change that by taking creatine. I mean, I would recommend that regardless. So you don't have to really go crazy with the amount of water you drink just because you are supplementing with creatine. Good questions, Nick. Thank you.
Are there any recommendations on the other supplements as to time of day to take them, like the multivitamin and the fish oil? I'm sorry if you already said that.
Nope, I didn't address that. So with multivitamins and fish oils, again, it's about that dosage and your body absorbing it. So we actually recommend taking it twice a day. So there's for our multivitamin, the Immune Boost, you take 3 in the morning and you take 3 at night, because you want to make sure that you're constantly keeping your body supported with the antioxidants and the vitamins and the minerals and things like that. So you do it in the morning and in the evening. Try to take it with food if you can. It's not absolutely necessary, but it does help a little bit with the absorption if you take it with food. And so the Immune Boost, take in the morning and the evening. The fish oil, I recommend taking in the morning and the evening so that you're constantly targeting that as well. The Extreme Endurance is another product that I would recommend everybody take. It's just people hear the word Extreme Endurance, they're like, I don't need that. But the science shows you do. You really do. We could talk more about that, but take those in the morning. As far as protein timing, whatever works for you and fits your day. Collagen, protein, again, timing is not really a thing, doesn't matter. The carbohydrate based stuff, I would really only do those if you're on a macro diet. Then carbohydrates are great for hitting those goals, for hitting your carb goals if you need some quick carbs at the end of the day, because with our product, it's 4 types of carbohydrates, so you get different absorption rates. So it's not all trying to hit your system at one time. There's organic sweet potato powder in there, so it makes it a little bit easier for your body to handle and absorbs a little bit differently. Other timing of stuff, that's pretty much it. I mean, obviously the CBD Deep Sleep you want to take before bed. CBD oil, kind of, you have to play around with that and see which is the best time of day to take it for you and your needs. A lot of people, I'll tell them, try a dropper in the morning and a dropper in the afternoon and start there and then play with it beyond that. Good question. I think that was Teresa. Yes. Anyone else have questions about anything? No? Okay, cool. Josh, how'd I do? Is that all right?
You crushed it, man. Well done, sir.
Cool. All right. Well, so I will let everyone go. Thank you for getting on. I appreciate it. I am putting my email in the chat right now. It's just mikexnd@gmail.com. Feel free to email me with any questions that you might have. I'm also going to put my phone number in here. So if you have any questions and you want to text me or call me, go ahead and do that. I'm your resource. If you don't take this stuff down now, Josh has my information. He can give that to you anytime you need to. Hopefully, when COVID restrictions relax a little bit, I can come back to the gym and sample some of these products in person. But in the meantime, go with that sample box. It's the easiest way to try the products. It's $36 plus shipping. So you get to try that, and it will give you a good test of what those products are and how they're going to work for you. And you can try them, see if you like them. And if nothing else, do the free samples of the Focus, because it's free. You got to download the app, play the game, and you get free samples. It's pretty easy. The video explains exactly how to do that. So yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for staying with me. I know I kept more than an hour, but not much past an hour. So I appreciate you, and please feel free to reach out with any questions.